Yo, what's good everybody and welcome back to the channel. So as you guys can see, this is a different video. This has absolutely nothing to do with rap. This is a sports talk video. Now I want to try to diversify my content on this channel, and I obviously enjoy watching football, and the NFL playoffs are here. And so I'm like, you know what? Why not make some of these sports talk videos? I might even come up with an NFL playoff prediction video later on this week. And why not talk about the Chicago Bears, since they are my favorite team and they're going to be going up against the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs on Super Wild Card weekend. So without further ado, let's get to it. So the Chicago Bears end up backdooring their way into the playoffs after losing to the Green Bay Packers, but fortunately the Rams did beat the Cardinals. The Bears ended up getting into the playoffs, and they did keep it competitive against the Green Bay Packers. Up until midway through the fourth quarter, they were still in the game until they missed that 4th and 1 to Allen Robinson, I believe. And Mitch Trubisky played okay, but he basically threw the ball underneath a lot, wasn't really pushing the ball down the field. And that's going to be a problem in the playoffs, because if you can't push the ball down the field, it's just going to be hard to win, because the Saints are just going to key in on the checkdowns. They're going to force Trubisky to try to throw it down the field, especially on the intermediate routes. And he's not great at it. That's why Matt Nagy had to basically scale the offense and to try to protect Mitch Trubisky so he could cater to his strengths, which I thought the Bears should have been doing the entire season. They waited until freaking week 14 to start doing it, and it worked, but it worked against bad defenses. And then when Trubisky went up against a great defense in the Green Bay Packers, they basically did a bend but don't break defense, and the Chicago Bears did not convert in the red zone. And at the end of the day, you have to convert in the red zone. You can't settle for field goals. You got to go for touchdowns against Aaron Rodgers, who's arguably been the best quarterback in the league this year for this season. He's going to win the MVP. But I did like how the defense played in the second half, but those blown coverages were just not cutting it. Roquan Smith, heart and soul of the defense, ended up getting hurt. He may not even play in the wildcard game, and that's going to be huge, because if he's not playing, Alvin Kamara is literally going to feast all over our defense. It's just going to be hard to stop him, because he's a matchup nightmare, and he's probably going to play. Michael Thomas is also going to be back, number 1 receiver for the Saints. And with the Saints offense getting healthy, it's going to be a headache for the Bears defense. And the way the Bears defense has to win this game is they have to create pressure on Drew Brees as much as possible. Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, Akeem Hicks, they have to pressure Drew Brees a lot and force Drew Brees to try to throw it down the field. Drew Brees has struggled in the playoffs over the last couple of years, as teams have really been able to focus on the New Orleans Saints' weaknesses, which is the inability to push the ball down the field. And they have been able to figure out Sean Payton's offensive schemes in the playoffs. And the Saints did lose to the Vikings last year in a similar situation, where everybody counted the Vikings out. At least a lot of people did, including me. And the Saints somehow lost, and the offense didn't play well at all. Could this happen here? It might. But it's just going to come down to whether Jalen Johnson and Buster Screen can also stay healthy, because they are our second and third corners. And if they're not there, Brees is just going to pick out every mismatch possible, and it's just not going to be good. For the Bears, obviously they got to establish the run with David Montgomery. He actually had a pretty good game the last time we played the Saints, which is pretty good, because the Saints have a very good run defense. And the Bears receivers had relative success against the Saints secondary. The problem is that Darnell Mooney, who's probably been the second best receiver for the Bears this season, may not play in this game. He is dealing with an injury, and even if he's there, he's not even going to be 100%. So it's just, I don't know. The Bears just have too many injuries that they're dealing with right now, and they're going to have to play spotless football. Mitch Trubisky can't turn the football over. Every time they get in the red zone, they have to convert and score touchdowns instead of settling for field goals. That's what this comes down to. And they have to try to use the short passing game, get the ball out of Trubisky's hands quickly so he doesn't turn the football over. But occasionally Trubisky's going to have to make the big time throw. And we'll see what happens, man. I mean, the Saints, if they lose to Mitch Trubisky and the Bears, it's gonna suck. Like, I'm gonna feel so sorry for Drew Brees because it's just gonna be a bad way to end his career, losing to Mitch Trubisky, Kirk Cousins, and Jared Goff in the last 3 years in the playoffs. That's not the way you want to end your career, man. That is not the way you want to end your career. So a lot of pressure is on the New Orleans Saints. If the Bears do lose this game, they will have a lot of issues to figure out in the offseason. Obviously, the question, do they keep Mitchell Trubisky, or do they go for a better option if there's one available on the trade block, on the free agent market? Do they trade up in the draft? Do they take Mac Jones out of Alabama? There's a lot of options. Obviously, with Ryan Pace, the GM, does he end up getting fired? I think they should personally fire him. He's had way too many misses. Obviously missed on the quarterback. He missed on a head coach already. He's overpaid so many people. He's missed on first-round picks. At the end of the day, it's just going to be hard to keep him. Nagy is pretty much staying. There's no way the Bears are going to fire a coach that has made the playoffs 2 of his last 3 years. A coach that has his players ready to play, players that do respect him, and has never had a losing season. I just don't think the Bears will fire him. They're going to try to see if he can get this offense back on track, maybe with some new pieces. But yeah, this is going to be tough. Very tough. I think the Bears do have a chance, though, because the Saints have underachieved in the playoffs the last couple of years. The last time the Bears did play the Saints, it was a close game, but the Saints were without their top 3 receivers, and that obviously made a big difference. But it's really going to come down, if Kamara and Thomas are not at 100%, I think the Bears can win. And if Jalen Johnson and Roquan Smith are able to come back. But if the Bears can't push the ball down the field, if the Saints pass rush with Cam Jordan, Trey Hendrickson can get after Mitch Trubisky, make him uncomfortable, at the end of the day, it's just too big of a coaching gap. You got Sean Payton versus Matt Nagy. And I'm taking Sean Payton every single day over Matt Nagy. And Drew Brees in the playoffs, I'm taking him over Mitchell Trubisky. And as much as I want to see the Bears win, it's going to be very tough. I'll reveal my prediction in the playoff prediction video. But if the Bears pull this off, I think Trubisky is 100% staying. And it'll be a great victory. There have been 8-8 teams that have won in the playoffs. A lot of those teams, though, were at home. The last road team, I think, to win a playoff game was the Minnesota Vikings with Randy Moss when his just disgusting act against the Green Bay Packers in that one playoff game. But yeah, this is gonna be a good game. I can't wait to see how the Bears go about their game plan. I think they're gonna execute a similar game plan to how they played against Green Bay, relying on Montgomery. Short passes with Trubisky, but Allen Robinson's got to get the ball more, man. He can't get one target. Are you kidding me? Allen Robinson, 1 catch. Literally like 1 or 2 catches in the whole game. That cannot happen in this game. He's got to get the ball a lot, especially with Darnell Mooney injured. And it's going to be a headache to deal with this Saints offense. I mean, you got Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Taysom Hill, for crying out loud. It can do everything for them. So it's going to be a nightmare to defend that Saints offense. So with the injuries, it's going to be a tall task. But anything could happen. It's any given Sunday. And a couple breaks here and there. And the Bears can find themselves in a rematch with the Green Bay Packers. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys haven't already, please be sure to go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I will be uploading my playoff predictions video later on this week. And I'm also going to try to do some reactions to the wildcard game. So after they finish, I might make some reaction videos to a couple of the games, especially the Bears game. I'll probably talk about that. But hopefully you guys enjoy, man. And I'm out.